Let's get some clarity on all of this and a whole lot more now from our old friend, Aspen Ladd. There she is. Hello, Aspen. How are you?
Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you again. Congratulations on the new deal. Should I say How do you feel about all this? Obviously, you were in the UFC, probably didn't want to leave. Maybe you did. How would you describe the last month or so in your life?
A roller coaster of emotions. So obviously, initially, there's always that like, oh gosh, what's gonna happen now, kind of thing. But since the initial, all right, parting ways with the UFC type thing, nothing but positivity has happened, nothing but good things. And right now, I'm just on top of the world. I couldn't be happier with how things are going
Okay. Why are you no longer in the UFC?
because I clearly cannot make that weight at 135, at least not consistently without dying. And I needed to make the move up. And they don't have an opportunity at 145. I mean, they have the weight class, but honestly, if you're a 145 or in the UFC, I would recommend if you can go down, do it, and if not, look at your options. So it was time to look at mine.
Was that ever discussed? Because obviously, as you said, they have Nunes as champ. There's no real contenders. I feel like you versus her would be a fun fight at 45. Was it ever discussed? Hey, you can win one up there, and then we could have her defend the belt against you. Any of that discussed, or was it 135 or nothing?
It was pretty much 135 or nothing.
Okay. And did they say to you, hey, if you can make it, we'll keep you? Or was it, hey, it's been too many, really uncomfortable situations. Maybe it's best that you look at 45 elsewhere?
It was kind of both parties knew that this was the last straw because, like, if you're only given the singular option, and I can't do it. Like, it's no more after this last cut. I'm not trying again. And when you're told that that is not there, it's like, okay, well, we need to go figure out something else.
How scary was this last one for you?
It was particularly shitty just because it never should have happened. I started extremely low and just stopped sweating. Ended up roasting for another 6 hours without sweating anymore. And it was like, and during that process, like, you know what? I'm just not, never again.
Never again. So you think you'll never fight at 35 ever again?
I don't see that in my future.
Okay. And I would imagine you don't want to do it, right? Like even if someone presents you with an opportunity, you don't want to go through that.
No, I definitely don't. And it's not fair to my opponent. It's not fair to me to take something where it's like, maybe.
Right. And so why didn't you make this call earlier? Clearly this has been an issue for, the last couple of years. Why not make this call back then?
That the 45 thing was always on the table, or we presented it like, hey, I want to do this, I want to do this, but it's just not where their focus is. And especially as the years have gone on, they really made a push for it, but now it's dying off. So it's just, you try to go where the opportunity is.
Would it be fair to say if it was more of a thing, like if it was an actual weight class, like 35, 25, 15, you would have been up a
Mhm.
long time ago?
Yes.
Okay. And just curious, like the worst one, which was the worst one? And did you ever think legitimately like you were gonna die?
I never, it's just the level of the pain and the stuff that I've gone through after from doing these cuts. And even when you do everything right, you get as lean as you can, you diet 10 months out of the year. It's just my whole life is focused on staying small enough. And I don't know for how many other of the 35ers that's true, or fighters in general, but honestly, it was just the last straw for me. It's like I'm done living my entire life trying to stay small enough and then feeling this awful and then having to recuperate from that physically.
And could I ask, and just for context, when you're about to start
Mm.
a training camp, like what is your most comfortable walking around weight where you're not really dieting, but like you're just general in shape training, but not like, a week before a fight type of weight?
About 155.
Okay. And so most comfortable for you, would you say is 45? Do you feel like that's a doable thing?
Yes, definitely. I've gotten leaner over time because my whole focus has been 35. So I walk lower than that now, but that's a natural weight for me.
When you parted ways with UFC, would you say it was amicable? Like, were you happy with the way things ended? At least, obviously, you never want a relationship to end like that, a business relationship. But like, are you at peace with how it ended?
Completely. I have nothing but gratitude for my time that I was there. And some people within the organization are amazing, and there's a couple that aren't. But that's the same with anything, anywhere. So yeah, nothing but gratitude.
Obviously, most important would probably be Dana White, and it seemed like he holds you in high regard. He had some nice things to say about you, I think, given the circumstances. Did you hear his comments before it was made official? And if so, how did you feel about them?
I was kind of tuned out. Somebody told me after, but as far as Dana goes, I have nothing but respect for the guy. I think he gets shit on a lot in the media, and it's really not warranted, especially during these last couple of years where like the world shut down and we still had the opportunity to fight.
Okay, so no hard feelings there.
None.
All right. So once you became free and clear, it seemed like there was no like exclusive negotiation period or anything like that. You were able to talk to anyone, sign a deal with anyone. Is that fair?
Yes. Yep.
And obviously, we end up with PFL, and we'll get to them in a moment. But
Mhm.
did you talk? My understanding was there was some talk with Bellator as well. Correct?
There was, yes.
Was it just Bellator and PFL, or were there other organizations involved?
There was other options, but really right off the bat, I kind of because there's strong we know where the 45 division is,
Right.
but as soon as things started to develop with PFL, I was like, ooh, that's really interesting.
Okay. So you ultimately went with PFL. Why did you choose them over Bellator or anyone else?
I liked the options, the options and their fighting style. So for somebody that's for the last 10 years of my life, I fight. You're always like you're always in camp. You're always waiting. You could fight tomorrow. You could fight in a week. I loved the format with them. So even before all this happened, it's like, oh, that's really cool how they do it seasonally, and you know when you're going to fight. You know the number of fights you're going to get. I was very attracted to the format of it. And this was before I knew that they were going to do a 45 division. I was like, oh, they have 55, fine, we'll go walk in and fight. But it just all played out perfectly. And that's really what sold me on it.
Okay, so that was actually my next question. As of right this second, they don't have a 45 division, but you were told as of next year there'll be a 45 division?
Yes.
Okay. But you would have been into the idea of 55.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to an organization go, all right, I want to fight for you guys, but I'm not going to fight at the division that you have.
Sure.
So, yeah, no, I would have, but it just worked out perfectly time wise. They were thinking about it, and I became a free agent.
Okay. And so you signed with them and found out last night, and I think you were going to come on and break the news, but it got out there beforehand. You are fighting
Yeah.
on this card on the 25th of November?
I am, and I'm thrilled. It's pretty much like a fighter's dream to fight Madison Square Garden, and just I'm excited that I don't have to wait until next April, basically, to start this next season. So yeah, no, I've been waiting to find out if I was going to be on it, and I got the confirmation last week, and it's like, yes,
Okay. You're happy, and you're fighting a well-known fighter,
thrilled.
Julia Budd, and
Mhm.
it's at 145
Yes,
pounds.
it is.
And this is on the pay-per-view main card. So this is quite the debut for you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're the very first fight on it. So I think that's their first pay per view and the first fight on their first pay per view.
Yes. And do you feel like you're going into this new chapter, maybe with a chip on your shoulder, something to prove? It wasn't that long ago people were saying, including myself, I had you on the 25 under 25 list up there, I think number two or something like that, future champion, all that stuff. And I don't think anyone doesn't believe that, but obviously now it has to be shown. Do you feel like you have a chip on your shoulder to prove to people that all that hype, all that talk was warranted and that you will meet your expectations?
Yes and no. So every time you fight, you kind of have that on you, and the more high profile you are, the more eyes on you, the uh, the more pressure as far as that goes. But yes, definitely, it's I need to go make my mark in this new organization. But it's not something where I'm stressed out about. It's like it's more excitement. It's like, oh, I get to go do this. I get to go have a fresh start and go try to kill this lady. Like it's great.
Mm. And obviously, without getting into specifics, out of respect, I have been hearing that PFL is paying pretty good these days. Are you happy with the offer, with the contract that you have compared to what you were making in the UFC?
I couldn't be happier.
Wow.
And yeah, no, I think people think about just like there's one option. There really isn't. There's multiple, and I don't know. You should just don't get like the one promotion mindset. It's like UFC or nothing. It's really not. I think right now with what PFL is doing, and they've only been around for 4 years, and look at the impact they've made.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible.
Yep. And they're on ESPN, of course, so that's a great platform for them.
Mhm.
Fair to say, making more in PFL than you were in UFC?
Fair to say.
Wow. Okay. So it all kind of worked out.
Yeah, no, it's like it's been nothing but good news. Like you had a awful thing happen, and then everything since then has just been continually getting better.
Wow, that is amazing. I'm very happy for you. And obviously, there's the prospect of making the $1 million if you win the tournament. Now,
Mhm.
I said the fight to make is you versus Kayla Harrison. Do you agree with this sentiment? I would love to see this fight for the both of you. Do you have interest in this fight next year?
Oh man, I get that question all the time. Um, yes, definitely. I am very, very interested in it, but that's more up to her and the promotion and what they want to do. I'm the newbie coming in here, but if that fight was presented to me, heck yeah.
Okay, you're into it. She obviously fights at 55. She has fought at 45 for Invicta. Did they give you any indication this 45 weight class will include her next year?
I have no idea. That's not my
Okay.
business.
Okay, because I feel like that would be a really big fight.
Yeah, yeah, no, it definitely would be. But if they want to make it, I have no idea what weight it'd be at, or even if.
Sure,
So
sure. Have you seen her work? Are you impressed by her?
I think she's an incredible athlete, and she is. She's very, very good at what she does, but we haven't seen her tested in any way or outside her comfort zone. So I
Okay.
do think she is one of the best, but it's still there's that big question mark there. So yes and no.
Okay. Is she overhyped?
uh, well, we'll see if we ever get to fight, and then I'll tell you.
Okay. All right. But this is something you'd be interested in, which is great to hear. And I'd love to see if she can do it at 45. Obviously, there are more options at 45. She's
Mhm.
fighting in the finale as well against Larissa Pacheco. So that's going to be an interesting fight. I
Yes.
think it's the main event, last I checked. But I feel like there's some exciting opportunities, some fresh faces, some fresh opponents. Do you have regrets? Like, are there things that you wish you could have done differently that you're going to try to, right the wrongs in this new chapter?
I think we all have regrets, but I try not to dwell on it. For me, this is just completely a fresh new thing. So I'm not going to sit there and go like, oh, I could have done this, or I wish I would have done that. It's over. Time for the future.
Okay. And, sometimes we've seen people move up weight classes and even have
Mhm.
trouble because there's like this cushion in their mind. They're like, oh, I don't have to do this. Do you have any concerns about hitting 45?
No, it's never been an issue for me. And as I said, I've spent so much time getting leaner. I walk around like 152 right now, so it's like
Oh, wow.
it's not going to be. Yeah, it's not hard.
Okay. Have you heard of any other names they've signed for 45? They'll be a part of this weight class with you.
I don't. I heard rumors that they're signing a couple girls the other day, but I'm not sure who they are. And honestly, a lot of their 55ers, those are 45 girls. So we'll
Sure.
see who drops and who they sign.
Okay. Yeah. And maybe that means that they just get rid of the 55 and you have, this whole new crop of opponents to fight at 45. And you said April probably. So you'll get this fight in November. And then, 5 months or so later, you get the fight consistently and no issues with that, right? Even with the weight, I know it's a more comfortable weight. No issues fighting four or so times in the span of a few months.
No, no. So my teammates and I were talking about that the other day, and it's less the weight aspect of it because I'm going to get that question the rest of my career probably. But
Sure.
35 incredibly difficult. It's horrible. 45, that's where I'm supposed to be.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, we were talking about it. Fluffy and Max and I was just like, the main thing I think with that tournament format is really not getting injured in between, like trying to stave off the injuries and really make it to the next fight. Because usually you train a certain way, you spar a certain way. It's like trying to find the balance between like hard sparring between not getting injured during the fight or at least nursing that injury. So it's like that's going to be where it becomes interesting, I think, with the tournament format.
Did the backlash ever get too much to where you just wanted it out of the sport, that you didn't want to fight anymore? You just wanted to say to hell with everyone?
I tend to be an introverted person, and left to my own devices, I'd be more of like a hermit out in the woods, probably. But I love to fight. I always have. It's the I've never been a fan of the social media aspect of it. It's necessary. It's part of what we do. We got to promote ourselves. But I've never been called so many things by like awful things.
Yeah.
But like some fat dude on a couch somewhere. It's like, come on, man. It's yeah. So it gets shitty, but honestly, it's something I've become used to in an awful way. And it doesn't particularly matter to me as long as it's not somebody close to me.
Okay. And you feel like you're getting love from people close to you?
Certain people and certain ones I found out, it's like, all right, go. This relationship is not what I thought it was.
Okay, because you have been a lightning rod, right? Whether it's the corner stuff, the weight stuff, feels like people want to come after you. That's why I was asking if you have a chip on your shoulder, if you want to just like give the old, the old DX chop to everyone, if you get what I'm saying.
Oh, I want to give the old finger to just about everybody.
Okay, yeah.
But we'll see. Honestly, I look at it as the best revenge is massive success,
Yes.
and they can all honestly go to hell. And I'm going to keep living my life and keep doing what makes me happy.
Okay, and same corner for the PFL career as well? You'll still have your partner by your side?
Yep, Jim will be there. Dave will be there, and my coach Marcus will be there.
Okay. Well, I look forward to it. It seems like your dog wants to play, so we'll let you we'll let you do your thing. Congratulations on the PFL deal. Good luck to you on November 25th against Julia Budd. Thank you for coming on. I wish you the best. No more drama, no more issues. Just smooth sailing from here on out.
That is the plan.
All right. All the best to you, Aspen. Good to talk to you again.
Thank you for having me on.